Hi, my name is Emily, and I'm a mom of 2 kids. I'm joined today with Mandy Porter, who is the coordinator at FAAST, the Faith Alliance Against Slavery and Trafficking. Mandy, can you tell us, how did you get involved in the fight against human trafficking?
I was working as a children's pastor, and I had someone disclose abuse to me, and I didn't really know what to do. I didn't know the steps to take, and as I started to look into that, I started to learn more about abuse and exploitation, and started to learn about the signs that you see, and was realizing that those signs were actually happening in kids in our congregation and in our community. And so I dove in even more, and I wanted to learn not just about the signs of abuse, but about prevention, about how to identify things before they've happened, or give kids the confidence and the ability to speak out and to be able to stand up for themselves. So that's really how I got started in this field.
Oh, that's interesting. Tell us, for those who aren't familiar, what is human trafficking?
Well, the definition of human trafficking is the illegal trading, selling, and exploitation of people for the purposes of labor or sex. And it's the process by which someone's freedom is taken away and they become enslaved by others. We don't really know how many slaves are in the world today, but some of the newest statistics show that it's about 36 million. So that is a staggering number. So many people that do not have the freedom to choose what they want to do, and they don't have the God-given freedom that God has put on each and every one of our lives. So it's an absolutely appalling fact, and it's not just happening internationally, it's happening in each of our own communities as well.
Wow, that's really sobering. And what can we do as parents or teachers or community leaders to keep our kids safe?
Absolutely, that's a very important question, and we have this curriculum called Change Agents. It's aimed at ages 8 through 13, and it's a 7-lesson Bible-based curriculum, and it talks to kids about these kinds of issues. It talks about God's heart for justice, local and global labor trafficking, as well as sex trafficking. And we focus it on the church, and that's why it's Bible-based. Also Christian schools or any Bible-based arena could use it. And we believe that the church is vital in fighting this issue. The first abolitionist movement was William Wilberforce, and the church was vital there. And you look at the civil rights movement with MLK, so important. The church was really key in fighting that issue and seeing social change. And the church is this place with a divine calling, a calling from God to stand up for orphans and widows in their distress. So it's already this amazing platform. So if we get the church engaged, think about what could happen.
So, I have a kid who's around 8 years old, and as a mother, I might be tentative talking to my child about human trafficking. Why was this lesson created specifically for such a young audience?
Yes, so we know that in the United States, the average age of recruitment into prostitution and pornography is around ages 12 to 14, which is staggering, which is appalling. And we don't want to wait until they're older. We think this is an important message to reach them now. And kids, I'm sure you've seen this with your own kids, are powerhouses of faith. They believe anything can happen, and they believe in justice. I'm sure you've heard your kids say, like, that's not fair. They get justice issues, and it's just, so it's so great to get kids on board with this. And as we were writing this, we had so many experts in children's ministry and anti-trafficking collaborating to produce this curriculum, and they're very sensitive about where kids are cognitively and spiritually, and just very sensitive about that issue, because our goal is to keep kids from trauma and not expose them to it. So even though we were very sensitive, some people might say, I just cannot talk about sex trafficking with my kids. I can't even say the word sex, so we're just not going to do that, right? And so we say to that, okay, that's okay. We'll take what we can get. You should still look into the curriculum, because 4 of the 7 lessons don't mention the word sex. And you can still talk about God's heart for justice, human trafficking, and then local and global labor trafficking. Okay. And so we just think it's very important to hit this subject before kids before they become teenagers.
Right. That makes a lot of sense. How could change agents impact schools and churches?
Yes, so the impact, hopefully the impact is prevention. And here at FAAST, we have tons of restoration programs. We're working with people to help them get back on their feet, to help them overcome the abuse that they've been through, but we want to look at, what if they never went through that abuse? What if we're not picking up the pieces of a very broken and hurt person, but instead preventing them from ever becoming that way? That is the ultimate goal of this, so that we are equipping our kids with a community, with tools they need to stay safe online, to stay safe in schools, to recognize signs in other people. And in fact, we have a story of this happening, a very powerful story. So stay tuned in to what a story of prevention and hope of what becoming a change agent might look like in your community.
This is a story of prevention, a story of hope, a story of what could happen in your community with the use of change agents. This is based on a true story and certain details have been adapted. This is the story of Sarah. Sarah is your average 15-year-old girl. She loves Instagramming, her volleyball team, and she's a pretty good student. She wants to be a nurse when she grows up and is really hoping for a car for her 16th birthday. On the weekends, Sarah works at a concession stand at her local baseball field. It was there where she first met Ted. She was immediately impressed, and Sarah knew right away that he was someone important. He was so cool. He even went out of his way to talk to her. Sarah would get so excited to go to work. She would put on a mascara just in case Ted came by. And he did, again and again and again. Finally, Ted asked Sarah out on a date. It was magical. Sarah was blown away that this older guy with a nice car and cool clothes was into her. Ted was always so fun and carefree. He was always calling her mature. He told her how sexy she was and started pushing the boundaries physically. Sarah's friends were wooed by Ted too. He was so exciting and would take them all out to dinner. Ted also bought Sarah things, a new bikini, a pair of shoes her mom wouldn't buy for her. He even got her a cell phone. Ted suggested Sarah not tell her parents since they were too old and didn't understand what he and Sarah had. After a while, Ted asked Sarah to help pay for some of the things he was buying her. He said he needed her help out in the relationship. He asked her to have sex with his friend. "You're so good at it, and it would really help out," he said. Luckily, before this could actually pan out, Sarah's friend Alex sounds the alarm. Alex knew something weird was going on. Sarah missed class a few times. Her grades were slipping. She was wearing different clothes, more revealing clothes. Alex also didn't like Ted. He thought Ted was too old. Alex decided to do the very brave thing and tell his parents. With the help of his parents, he told Sarah's parents what was going on. Luckily, they got people involved, and they were able to get Sarah out of the relationship. At first, she didn't want to, but then anti-trafficking workers asked her a few questions, and Sarah realized that she was being groomed. The anti-trafficking worker knew all the tactics Ted had used and exposed them to Sarah until she realized what was going on. Sarah's back in school. She's doing well and knows what to look for. She wants to make sure something like this never happens to anyone else. Sarah and Alex are friends, even though it was rocky for a few weeks.